last one of the regular season. Here we go. All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Sunday afternoon. A matinee edition, or a little after matinee edition of KnicksFanTV's post-game live, the last one of the regular season, presented by DraftKings. CP the Fanchise and Alex Trataros on the ones and twos. The Knicks beat the Nets 113-105 in the regular season finale. A battle of the B teams, if you will. But the orange and blue come out on top, man. So we'll give you our key takeaways from this one. Wasn't too many, but there was one important one as it relates to the Knicks and their playoff chase. So we're going to get into that. We're going to touch on the Detroit series. And most of all, we want to know, what are your playoff expectations, man? So make sure you guys load up the Discord. Call us up. Hit us up, man. And once again, hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. Last one of the regular season now. Episode 611. Wow. Episode 611, man. Let's get into it, man. How you feeling, man?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready for the postseason. Let's go, man. It's been like, you know, if the players are feeling like, this is meaningless.
Yeah.
Over these last couple of games, man.
Yeah.
It's always great just hopping on talking about Knicks, but I'm ready for this part of the season, man. It's what we've been waiting for, man. You make these big trades. You want to see how it all plays out. Yeah, that's right. You point to your watch. It's money time. That's right. Let's go, man.
I don't even got a watch on.
It's the imaginary watch.
It is. This is last day of school vibes. You're ready for, when you're ready for the summer, you're ready to hit the beach, you're ready to get to it. These guys are ready for the playoffs. This is the best time of year. It is April. It is starting to get warmed up here in New York. This is the time of year where we get all 4 seasons in one day. But it's that shift. You know what I mean? It's that shift. You got to knock the shell off and get ready for playoff time. All right? We're ready, bro. We are ready, man. Take the diapers off. Stop being scared. Not you, Al. I'm talking about the people, because there's mass hysteria going on in the fan base. Take the diapers off. Stop being scared and get ready to lock in with the team. That's my message to the fan base, man.
Or maybe they need to keep the diapers on just in case, the cardiac affair we might go through the first round.
Oh,
maybe.
It very well could be. Let's talk about this one before we put a bow in the regular season. 113-105. As we expected, only started to play a couple minutes in this one was Mikal Bridges, as he keeps his Iron Man streak alive. So nice touch by the team and Bridges to go through that just to make sure that he keeps it alive. But, you got to see some of the young guys. You got some early Pacome Dadier action. You got some late Kevin McCullers action. You got some Kolick sprinkled in. So you got to see a little bit of what the future potential looks like, or, a lot of work that they need to be doing in the offseason to carry over into next year. But this one, it was about Landry Shamet, Al. 29 points for Shamet, 7 of 13 shooting from the field. And yes, given the competition, you don't want to take too much stock in the point total, but the overall trend of Landry Shamet is a positive one and is a hot one. In the month of April, he's shooting 46% from 3, a 67% true shooting percentage. He's been dialed in now, and I think he has made a case for the playoff rotation, whether it's situational or extended. Landry Shamet deserves a shot. He started off the season lousy, and he finished very strong. This is the guy that we were hopeful for in the preseason prior to the shoulder injury. He's looking great right now.
Absolutely. Look, over the last 10 games, these are the numbers for Landry Shamet. He is averaging about 23 minutes per game, over 12 points per game. He's shooting close to 9 attempts as well, shooting 49% from the field, 49% from downtown, and that's on high volume too. You're getting close to 7 attempts from 3. And so that's what you're looking for when you have a guy like him hoping to come off the bench and to help space the floor. And with Tom Thibodeau especially talking about, we need to put up more threes. We need to put up more threes. We need to put up more threes. And this team is 27th, CP, in attempts, three-point attempts. Not in percentage. They're one of the most efficient three-point shooting teams in the league. But we have dropped over what we've done the last few seasons to now being in the basement. And so when you have Shamet, who's now showing that he could put up a lot of shots from downtown and knock them down at a high clip, And obviously, as you said, it's not going to be what he did tonight. But if you're going to ask a guy for like 15 minutes to come off the bench to relieve somebody in one of the wings, and he's going to give you threes like that, you got to include him in that playoff rotation, man. To me, I know campaign is going to be, we already know what campaign is, but I think the 8th spot should go to Shamet with how he's been playing too. He's gotten to a great rhythm, and I just like the energy that he plays with defensively, a guy who's willing to jump passing lanes. And look, he's not a stout defender, but he's always going to try hard. And especially when you think about guys like Josh Hart and Bridges, who are, you want to try hard, and especially Josh Hart, who does try hard, I think Shamet fits that mold, and he definitely should get minutes for this postseason run.
Yeah, and you know what, man? And salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. CP and Alex on the ones and twos. The Rhyme Animals holding down the Moz chat for us, Al. Salute to all of our Fanchise channel members. Let's establish protocol. We didn't do that earlier. Salute to the replay gang. And at this time of night, or this time of day rather for us, but nighttime for those people. Salute to our friends across the pond now. They get an early post game show, if you will. So I always like to big them up on days like today. But with the Shamet thing also, just like a little intangible in what we saw in Detroit earlier this week in a not so good loss, the grit. We saw some of that New York grit from Landry Shamet, where, Malik Beasley, he backs him down, gets a jump hook over him. He's doing a too small celebration. I mean, like, he was really, like, driving it home into the paint. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's really with the too small stuff. And then Shamet comes back. He knocks down back-to-back threes. Somebody else is drawing at him at the crowd. He's going back at it. Like, hey, for a team that many think are on the softer side, which I don't disagree with, I like how he's got fight in him. I think this team needs that. That's the type of energy that you want in your bench unit who, the guys on MSG made that case where it's like you might not get a lot of minutes because you've got to expect we're going Tibbs minutes here in the playoffs. We're going 40 and up. But for a couple of minutes, can you give us that punch? Can you give us some energy and a 3 or 2? I'm putting Shamet in the mix.
Absolutely. And you like that energy he had in Detroit. There's two things I'm going to say about that. One, it's important of Tom Thibodeau to recognize when he is hot and to leave him in and not pull him like he did in Detroit. That's number one. Number two, right, when it comes to Landry Shamet, who you mix him out there with, and I'm talking about who is the point guard, who is the other guard that's going to be feeding him, is very crucial as well. This is why when you hear fans asking for DeLon Wright to go out there and play, it's because Wright is not going to look for his own shot, unlike campaign. So if Shamet's out there with Brunson or DeLon Wright or somebody that's going to look for him and create for him, even if you dump the ball down to Cat in the post, and if he's getting like double, triple team and he can kick it out to Shamet, that's how you'll get this guy activated, okay? It can't just be let Shamet just stick out in the corner and then for the few touches that he gets because campaign is in that mode that I want to put up a lot of shots, it's not going to work like that. So it's important for Tom Thibodeau to recognize when he's hot and to make sure he puts out the right lineup for Shamet so that way he gets going for this postseason action.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And what do you guys think? Shamet in the rotation. Hey, it may go 7, it may go 8. I think he's definitely going to make a case there. So, hey, Tibbs sees it. And, should they, and I think they will, get past the first round, we'll talk about that a little bit, they're going to need his firepower even more when you're going up against the Celtics, right? Don't want to overlook Detroit, but I'm just saying, in a scenario where they get to the Celtics in the second round, you're going to need as much firepower as you can get. And the way he's shooting, he can't come out of that lineup. And I just like his mindset, his energy, his focus. He says, I want to be on that same level as the starters in terms of their preparation for the postseason. So, hey, there's no better time than now, especially in the way that he is shooting. So let's put a bow on the regular season before we look to postseason and some of the sound bites that have come out this week. This team finishes 51-31 on the campaign. You have how many teams so far? 7 teams so far. Indiana just won today, so they were the 7 teams to hit 50 or more wins. So the Knicks are one of 7 teams in the league right now to have 50 or more. Up and down season, as we know, as we've experienced. On the plus side, look, 2 All-Stars in Jalen and Karl Anthony Towns. You'd expect Jalen to be in that All-NBA running, clutch player of the year. On the defensive side, OG Anunoby should definitely be in consideration for All-NBA defense. So you had some bright individual spots, performances. We can talk about that from the 50-point games to multiple 40-point games between OG and Mikal Bridges. So you had some individual bright moments, but clearly there were a lot of rough patches in this season. When you talk about the fact that they did not beat Boston or the Cavs or the Thunder at all this year. The reality is they went 15-23 against teams 500 and above. They went 15-23 against those teams. Last year, conversely, they went 21-28 against those teams last year. But nevertheless, they were 15-23 against teams 500 or better. With these trades, there were certain givens with the trades that they made. That the bench was going to be hollowed out and that the defense was going to be a bit more suspect. And I think we saw that pretty consistently this year. So, like AP in the chat says, he thinks that they underachieved. What do you think? Did they underachieve this year for finishing third in the East?
I don't think they underachieved. I don't think they overachieved either. I think it's somewhere right dab in the middle. And I just want to point out, you mentioned that team that went 21-28 last season. We should just also recognize that there was a lot of change for that team, who you started out with quickly, Grimes, RJ. You think about the change that they did. You lose Randall for the rest of the season. OG missed time. You lost Mitch back in December of last season. There was a lot of change. So for that team, if you think about it, last year, for that team to go 21-28 against 500 against 21-28 to go against teams over 500, pretty impressive. Now with the stat that you brought up today, was it 13-21 that you mentioned?
13 and no, hang on. Let me go back and make sure I'm accurate here. They went 15-23 against 500 and both. 15-23.
15-23. For the trades that you made this season, you hope that you get a little bit better, especially with the two big offseason trades that you made for Bridges and Cat. You would expect that they would thrust themselves into that, championship contender title this season. With that being said, I understand that the bench was decimated after the trades that you made. But I think for even the expectations that you have this season with that starting five and how they competed this year, it's a good season for them in year one. Not a great season, a good season, because you can argue saying, hey, first year, put this team together. There's still some more rounding out that they have to do for the bench to make sure that they can compete, so that way you can get guys rest. I think coaching-wise, it was a little bland for most of the season, where you just knew exactly what was going to happen. But I don't think there's an overachieving and underachieving in the season. They did what they could, and winning 50 games should not be scoffed at. It was a good season for them. But if we're sticking on the regular season, I think because of the inconsistent play on defense and the guys that you acquired, mainly Mikal Bridges, if he had a great season, I think then you say it's a great season. But because of where it is, it's just right dab in the middle, man.
Yeah, me. I'm with you. I don't think they overachieved. I don't think they underachieved. I think this is based on the trades that they made, and they went from having one of the best benches to one of the worst. Even though guys off the bench came in, like Shamet was a good ending story, they were what they were. I think on paper we saw that once they made that trade. So I think where they finished is where I expected them to finish. I did expect them to have more signature games like they did last year. That was a little bit disappointing for me, is that they didn't have more signature games, especially against either Boston or Cleveland. Because in those first, the first Cleveland game, which was early in the season, you can't really glean too much off of it. They had the lead, they blew the lead, and they lost. But then, if you want to argue that, okay, the rest were on the second night of a back-to-back, so it was a little bit harder, okay. But even the Boston games, the first three out of the four, they weren't even in the same league.
Nope.
Right? So that was a little bit disheartening when you look at that. The first OKC game shot out the gates very well. Had a sizable lead on the road, and it all went to shit in the end. Pardon my French. The second OKC game, not in the same league. So it was tough, right?
On your own home court.
On your own home court.
And after you hear Brunson and Hart talk about how they know the importance of playing these games and stepping up and showing where you can match. And so that's why it's like, it's a good season. I think that's why this fan base too, man. Like we hear it all the time on all socials, on the show, when people call in, even in the chat, even in the comment section. It's why there's such a divide. It's true. Like the Hatfield and McCoy's like, don't worry, you're gonna have this team turn up in the postseason. And then others are like, hey man, it's just kind of like an impending doom for some of them, saying, look, we see the second round exit against Boston, but that's why this regular season is what it is. And we're just mapping out the regular season. We're not including postseason, right? But I don't know, man. What would you give it as a grade for the regular season?
The regular season, say B minus.
Going B minus?
Going B minus.
I'm gonna go a little high. I'll go a little high. I'll go B, just because I feel like that's just kind of like, look. And the thing that I'll give it a B for is that we did have 2 All-Stars. There'd probably gonna be 2 All-NBA guys too. So that's
fair.
why
that
Cat,
goes by the regular definitely season. Make All-NBA, right?
Cat should definitely. I mean, if you're gonna be an MVP consideration, you have to be up there.
Yeah.
Brunson got the 65. We know how impactful he is. He's up there in MVP voting as well. So
plus there's 3 teams, guys, right? There's 3 teams.
There's 3 teams. So they should definitely make it.
Yeah.
But then it's like that is why I'm going to put it as a B, because still awesome. We know what the flaws of this team are defensively. But yeah, I'm going to go with a B for myself, man. Oh my God, people putting D.
What do you guys think in the chat? They're grade them in the chat, man. I know they're going crazy. Throw your grades in the chat.
D. Wow.
Throw your grades in the chat.
People are agreeing with us, man.
Yeah.
Let's see B minuses and B.
Yeah. Okay. So we're within the ballpark of the people. They're good people at home. So they finish 5th in offensive rating, 13th in defense, and 8th overall in net rating. I'm with you in that, especially from the defensive perspective. I didn't expect with Towns at the 5 that they would be great or even close to elite. He just is what it is. No coach can fix what Karl Anthony Towns doesn't have up here. You just can't.
It's 10 years, bro.
It's 10 years. 10 years. It's 10 years, and how many coaches? Like, every coach is not going to turn a guy into an all-world defender. So I expected them to have their woes with him at the 5. The Bridges thing was more disappointing, or I don't know. It's hard to say disappointing.
Underwhelming?
Underwhelming. Perfect word. The Bridges thing was more underwhelming in terms of what we thought the potential could be of the entire Wingstop unit with Bridges, Anunoby, and Hart. And it became very underwhelming, especially against the elites. Against the regular teams, we were good to go. Against the elites, it became an issue that I didn't really see coming. I thought we would have been a bit more stout there. So, but then you saw that when his role increased, he became a better all-around player. So that was when Brunson would be out of game, or if Towns is out of game, or Hart's out of game, like Bridges steps up, or OG's out, like his role changes. And then when he gets more offensive role, you see him kind of lock in a little bit more defensively.
It's always interesting, man, when you see players who get a little bit more offensive responsibility, how much the defensive intensity turns up. And I think this is something that the front office will look into the offseason, is it too many chefs in the kitchen? This is kind of like the Chris Bosh situation. Not saying that, Bridges is up there with the talent of Chris Bosh, but like when you have 3 guys, especially after the performance that Bridges had in Brooklyn, where, all right, now you're on ball a lot more than you were out in Phoenix. You are that guy. And now you get to think, even before the Cat trade happened, that, hey, it's going to be me, Julius, and Brunson sharing the rock. And maybe I get to, usurp Julius because I could do a little bit more creation on ball, be a little bit more stable than what he can. Obviously, that doesn't happen. Now you bring in Cat, who demands the ball a lot, because to utilize his talent, he has to have the rock. You can't use Bridges to that degree. And so I think maybe that may have caught him off guard, after that trade happened. And then with how his role on this team being constantly paired with all of them and not given a free reign like RJ was with that second unit. I feel like that's kind of like, mess with the mentality of like, how do I go out there and perform my type of game? Now, with all that being said, if you know what the role is, you still got to perform that role. Like if they're asking you to be that top defender against, the primary ball handler for the opposing team, the guys who are going to initiate, you still got to go out there and perform, man. That's not going to change. You're brought in here to do your job. And so with that being said, I understand the frustration potentially, or just not even necessarily the frustration, but the complexity of how Bridges needs to, stay activated within the Knicks, system. But at the end of the day, you got to go out there and compete against Tatum, Brown, even when you play Trae Young first time and you allow them to do the dice roll, even more recently against Garland. Like, you have Mitchell Robinson back there. Garland is getting you on his hip, and then you're trailing him, and then he's still getting buckets. Not a good look for Bridges, man. So it's definitely been an underwhelming season. And the only thing that you can hope is that going into next year, that he's able to figure a lot of these things out, because this is a 3-4 year project. You can't just say, all right, after 1 year, it's done. And I get that in year one. And I'm right there too with the fans, man. Like, I want to see a little bit more from this team in year one, but it's still a project. And so hopefully the next year he could step it up and things get a little bit more towards smooth sailing for him.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Heatles had their struggles in terms of adjusting to new roles. But if you look at it, that was just 3 guys. Monumental, 2 monumental guys and a big-time all-star in Bosh, but that was just 3, right? Mario Chalmers knew his job. Defend, catch, and shoot threes. Udonis Haslem, get it gritty. Shane Battier, 3 and D. Mike Miller, 3 and D. Like, all their roles were defined, and once they came together, you saw how it worked out. It was up to Bron and Bosh and Wade to really figure out their sacrifice. For this team, it's even worse, because you got 5 guys who you can make an argument all need the rock in their hands to a certain degree to be impactful, especially Josh Hart. Like, he's not a guy who's just going to sit there and catch and shoot.
He's not a catch-and-shoot guy.
While he can just rebound and play defense. Like, to get him going offensively, he's got to have the ball in his hands and try to make things happen. McCall, same way. OG wants to be that guy. Cat has to be that guy. Like, Brunson has to be that guy. So I think they got caught up this year also in trying to figure out the roles. And you could even see it when Brunson came back, that they were trying to figure that out again and reconfigure things. So I think that's why you had the result that you had, both on the defensive side and the offensive side. What I am encouraged by, at least with this iteration of the team, was that the defense had improved with the addition of Mitch, with Deuce getting healthy. Like, the defense has potential, and I don't think that whether it's by the coach's stubbornness or by design as you head into the playoffs, we have not seen, both defensively and offensively, the Knicks' most optimal units, rotations, lineups. I want to say that it's more by design. But we will see come game 1, whenever it is, next Saturday, next Sunday. Especially with the Mitch thing, because they were ramping him up. They started him 12 to 15 minutes. They limited him on the back-to-backs, which, from what I heard, was a frustrating topic for Tibbs, because he wanted him out there. And I think the medical staff wanted to make sure that, they paced him accordingly. So I have to think that we're going to see more of those 2 big lineups, for example, especially against Detroit. You need it. I would even make the case that you got to start Mitch over Hart in this series.
Oh, yeah. I think you should start Mitch the entire postseason, personally. I think that's how it should go. If you're going to ask me, like, even against the Celtics, that second quarter and campaign, like, I really wish campaign just had the understanding of, like, yo, it's not about you, man. It's about everybody else. Yeah. You're just the point guard, set guys up. But that second quarter, when you had Mitch and Cat out there for 5 minutes, all right, you could get the plus minus at 0. But with your own eyes, if you watch that, Boston was on their heels. Cat was like, yo, I can go do my thing. And defensively, you just saw the struggle when you try to attack the lane against Mitchell Robinson, okay? No one's saying Mitch is going to stop Tatum or stop Brown, but there is a second you have to pause and you have to think when you're going to enter the paint and Mitchell Robinson is there. And so with that 2-man lineup, I think you should have Mitch starting for the rest of the postseason, because I think that's going to be your best shot defensively against all these teams. You can't have Cat and Brunson out there. We just know, man. It's just
Yeah,
they're going to pick and roll them to death, man.
targets.
They're going to get Brunson into the action, get Cat into the action. It doesn't matter, man. And look, you have to live with the decisions and the actions that your opponent calls defensively at times. But if you want to have a good chance, you're going to have Mitchell. You got to have Mitchell Robinson out there. There's just no question about it. But the thing I will say, CP, is that with what Minnesota did, right? With what Finch did once they got Gobert to pair with Cat, you saw it took quite some time. It took over a whole year for those guys to figure out how do you share the floor together, right? And so, look, I know Cat has experience playing with Rudy. He's actually one of the best bigs when looking for a 5 for like lobs and just passing to them. So I would look forward to seeing that. But with such limited time together during the regular season, and you've had Steph on here, we've talked to so many people, like there's only so much you can do in practice to simulate what's going to happen in a game. I just don't see how you can now throw Mitch out there in the postseason and then it's like, all right, we're going to figure this thing out. Because you're still going to be figuring it out on the fly. The rhythm, the timing between those two and understanding like both of them are going to be on the court at all times, that still has to be worked out. So it's not saying it's impossible, but I think there's like a little bit of a limitation if they're not sharing the floor now to get into some sort of rhythm through 17, 18 games while Mitch has been back. I just don't see how that now can just go be, hey, Mitch, you're in the starting lineup. We're going to figure this out right now. Game 1 against Detroit. I just find that tough to believe, man.
Give us your thoughts on the season, man. Let's wrap the season up tonight. CP and Alex on the ones and twos. KFTV postgame live. Knicks did beat the New Jersey Nets 113-105. If you care, but we are talking bigger fish to fry here. We are talking money time. If you took the diapers off and you ready to talk playoffs, you ready to talk hoops, this is what we're going to be doing all week. We lining up the guests. Tomorrow we got Jerry Ferrara. On Monday we got the Knicks beat All-Stars coming through. We coordinating schedules as soon as the Knicks practice schedules release. The Knicks beat All-Stars, Begley, Bondi, Trilogy. We're gonna do that. We got some other people. Me and Eddie Huang are gonna be doing a show in studio on Tuesday. All right, so we are lining them up. Let us know who you guys want on the show. Throw some requests in the chat. I know some people want I Hate Sean back. So yeah, we got a lot of people on the rotation. This whole week is gonna be crazy. CP and Alex on the ones and twos. Call us up in the KFTV Discord. And Al, this is the last episode of the season. We're going to do a giveaway today, man. We're going to do a giveaway today. So to everybody in the chat, man, you guys have been seeing these going around. The once a Nick, always a Nick Prince. I'm going to give this away to a Fanchise channel member today, man.
Let me go get that fake account ready now. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
That's nice, man.
Yeah.
With the hashtag OCAC in the corner. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's it. Once Nick, always Nick. This is by KFTV and Double. Nice collab here. Got your favorite Knicks in here. Moochie Norris is not in here. Sorry. If you guys were looking for Moochie, he's not in this one. He might be in the next one. You know what I mean? Emmanuel Mudiay is not in here. If you're looking for Emmanuel, he might be in the next edition.
Is Dennis Smith Jr. in there?
No DSJ. He might be in the next one, though. If you guys can vote on the next one, he might be in that
DeAndre Jordan. Ennis Freedom? Did I see Ennis Freedom in there? Hold on one second.
Yeah, man. For those of you that did order your prints, 90% of them went out on Saturday. The rest are going to go out on Monday. Gregory Weiner, I saw yours. Yours is going to be in the mail. And whoever else ordered already, it is going out on Monday. Between yesterday and Monday, they are going out. So you should be getting tracking numbers, and you should be getting yours. Okay? No, Langston Galloway is not on there. He's not on there. No. Okay. Let's get to the members lounge, Al. Let's hear from the people, man. Tugboat Taylor on the check-in. Tugboat, how you feeling?
Oh, what's going on, fellas?
How you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm feeling all right. How about y'all?
Good.
That's what's up. How y'all feel about this season? Regular season?
Well, we just went through it in the first half hour, man. Just catch up on the replay game.
Yeah, what's this switch up you got on Shamet? Because you've been talking sweet on that man all season.
Yeah, well, I mean, the switch up is if you make your shots, you should play. If you don't make your shots, you should be on the bench.
But they're low pressure games though.
I mean, I think that's pretty simple thought, right? If you're playing well, you should play.
They're low pressure games.
I mean,
like Starberry said, the playoff atmosphere is a little different.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
why I said y'all need to stop talking sweet on Terry Johnson. That man's gonna step up like he did last year.
All right. Well, hey, listen, man. As Knicks fans, we could all hope and we could all dream.
Fair enough. But I appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah. All right,
For
man.
real.
Salute. All right, let's
y'all
talk
stay blessed.
Tugboat Taylor on the check-in. So basically, he's saying, got to give all these guys a chance. Look, there's only 8 guys going to play. 7, 8 tops. Got to pick the best of the best. Who's playing well? This is a merit-based system out.
I couldn't hear him. It sounded like he was underwater for a second.
Yeah, it did. It did kind of sound like he was in like a phone booth or something. But basically, he was saying that he was calling me out for talking trash about Shamet early in the year.
I mean, he was pretty awful.
Yeah. His nickname was Bricket. He was bricking all over the place, man. Like, what do you want me to do? I can't shoot for the guy. He's got to shoot.
And now he's Sham Wow.
Now he's Sham Wow. So if he's playing like this, hey, of course you want to play him. He's trying to win games.
It's crazy to think that. Yo, this game, Tibbs really put that starting rotation back out there. It's like, all right, all the kids will go out there. We're not gonna. Oh wait, hold on a second. This thing's in the balance. Oh,
Out of there.
Campaign. Landry Shamet. You get back in there, man.
Hey, listen, man.
Precious Achua, where you at?
These guys got to get, hey, this could be Detroit. This could be Boston. These guys got to get in-game scenarios. You know, there's a guy, we might lose a soldier. These guys got to step up. You know?
Yeah. Look, this is why you need depth on a team, man.
This is why you need depth. So to everybody in the chat, man, hit that thumbs up one for you boys. Oh, who sent that super chat?
Oh,
What do you got? What do we got?
CP, shout out. I saw Tyler say that we were only 2 subs away from this. Now Joshua 102888 says we're all at 90K.
Wait a
subs
second.
now.
Wait a second. Are we at 90,000 subscribers? Hang on, man. Hang
Yes,
on.
sir.
Let me
We are at
confirm.
90,000 subscribers.
Let me confirm here. Did we hit 90K on the last day? We did. We did. Salute to everybody in the chat. I need some sirens or something, man. Hang on, man. Hold on, man.
Where's CK with the
Where's
sirens?
CK with the sirens at, man? I'll just throw my blue and orange everything on. Yo, salute, man. Congratulations to KnicksFanTV. Congratulations to Alex, to CK, to JD, to Tyler, to G, to Gamba, to TM, to Daniel, Jalen, Jeff and Jeff. Who else, Al? Who else
We got Remy. We got Omar.
Shout
man.
out to
Come
Remy
on,
and
man.
Omar, man. Shout out to them. Salute to
Shout out
the
to
team.
Chris LeBron, man.
Shout out to Chris LeBron. Shout out to the Knicks chick. Shout out to the family, man. My whole family, everybody. Shout out to Little Man, my parents, my aunt, my sister. I want to thank the Academy. All of that, man. Salute, man. Yeah, man. Big up to KFTV, man. This was a major, major accomplishment. Year 8 on episode 611. We have crossed over to 90,000 subscribers, man. Great effort, man. Big up to Knicks Nation worldwide, city to city. Wherever we have met, exchange words, exchange greetings. We appreciate you all, man. Because that's what it's all about. Everybody brought their brick. Everybody supporting the wave. Salute, man. Salute. P. McGee, salute. All our Fanchise channel members, salute. Yeah, 100K is going to be crazy. The ladies already talking about having a party, getting a cake and all of that. So we're going to get that 100K next year for sure. And hey, it'll probably coincide around this time of year. So, you know, we'll hit double duty, man.
Unless Leon decides to make a crazy trade this upcoming offseason somehow.
Right. Yeah, man. You know, 90K, man. We had the Towns blockbuster, the OG blockbuster, and the Bridges blockbuster. Which one did we have 10,000 people watching at one time? That was Bridges. You
sure it wasn't Cat? Because Cat got up there, man.
No, that was remember the Bridges one? That was like the impromptu. I mean, all of them were like surprise live streams, but that one was like really, really surprise live.
That was really surprise.
That was in the middle of July.
You were at a baseball game.
I was at the Subway Series watching Judge hit a grand slam, and I'm like, I'm doing my giddy dance about that, and people are like, yo, bro, where you at?
Bro, I called you, JD called you. We're like, yo, where you at, man? And you're like, I'm at a baseball game. I was like, yo, we just got Bridges. And JD tells you we got Bridges. You're like, what?
Yeah, we had 10,000 people watching here, man. It's a major accomplishment, man. We've had a lot of major milestones, and this is just the beginning. So yeah, man. Salute to everybody who put in the work, man, and got us here. We appreciate you guys, man.
My bad.
Yeah, no good.
Shout out to Gamba. He just confirmed it was Bridges. It was the Bridges trade that got to 10.
Mm-hmm. That Bridges trade. Yeah. And so we had 10,000 watching after the trade. And now people can't stand the guy. That's how it works.
So much that we don't even see the celebration anymore.
Yeah, that's how it works. Okay, yeah, so now we definitely got to give a print away to a Fanchise channel member. TM, when you get a chance, just throw the question in the chat. So, and if you guys are new here, we got 1,000 people watching here. If you guys are new, leave us a hashtag new. We want to welcome you guys here to the #1 show for the fans by the fans. So to our Fanchise channel members, of course. Yeah, man. Black Westchester, new Fanchise channel member, says salute to KnicksFanTV, hitting the 90K subscribers. Russell Whiskey, congrats. Jamaica Queen 22, congrats to the squad. 90K. Do think says, are we headed to Detroit? Probably not, but we got to get to that. We definitely got to get to that because there was a lot of stories that led into that. We got to get into that.
Come on, CP. I see you that we just posted. Also, first of all, great food review that you just posted.
Charles Pan Fried. Yeah.
Great stuff. If you haven't checked that out, make sure to check that out. But come on, man, we need you to do a Detroit pizza review.
I know. We might have to take Knicks in the city on the road. Yeah, we're gonna have to take Knicks in the city on the road, man.
We know what Cleveland pizza is like. All right, it's like a waffle, as JD said. So we need to know what Detroit style pizza is like. When you got to go out there, man. You got to do it for the people.
All right. So we're gonna get to that story on Detroit though, because it's very funny in the grand scheme of things. So, but let's get to the callers, man. Let's get through it. Knicks Fix. Go ahead and unmute your mic. Knicks Fix. Is Knicks Fix there on the Discord? Okay, we don't have Knicks Fix. Okay, all right. He's usually pretty sharp, usually pretty snazzy on it. Okay, STG Nick, go ahead with the stadium report. STG.
What's up, guys? Honestly, unfortunately, just like 5 of the guys on the team, 6 of the guys, I also took a load management game, rest up for the playoffs.
Okay, all right, understandable. Yeah. STG. Yep.
So I was not there, so I was watching from home, but don't really have too much to say on the game itself besides you hit it with Landry Shamet. I think he's in a good stride going into the playoffs, and I would expect him to honestly be that 8th man because you're going to get the 5 plus Deuce and Mitch, and then it's really that 3rd guy off the bench. And I think it's going to be Landry and spurt minutes. I don't think he goes 9. But yeah, that's pretty much on that game. And then you guys asked kind of like how I grade the season. I'm kind of along with Alex. I would probably give it a B. 51 wins, obviously some highs, some lows. But overall, proud of them for what they were able to do. Obviously, it's year 1 of this whole plan. They battled, I guess, the last 2 games against Boston and Cleveland. And then expectations for the playoffs, if I were to say, I think we will beat Detroit, but it's not going to be easy. I don't think anyone should overlook them. I think we go 6. It's definitely not going to be a sweep. No chance. It's going to be either 5 or 6. And then I think we run into Boston, and then hopefully we just have a competitive series there and then go from there. But shout out to you guys for hitting 90K. Much deserved. And see you in the playoffs.
STG Nick, man, we appreciate the stadium report all season long. Let's keep it going. And we appreciate it, man. STG Nick on the Discord. So to you, man. That's our guy. STG. Okay. All right. Who else we got here on the check-in? Back to the members' lounge. The Knicks Fix, are you back?
CP Alex, what up, fellas?
How you feeling, bro?
What up?
What's up, man? Yo, so I'm calling in tonight because I was actually I wanted to call in on Friday, but I was just too tired, man. I was right on top of the Knicks bench. I had like amazing seats, man, right behind the Knicks bench. And I wanted to say this, man. The last 2 minutes of that game, right? I was looking intent, like Thibodeau was right there. Like I was right there watching the huddle. And he didn't. I was just so frustrated, man. He had the whiteboard, but he didn't put any Sharpie to the whiteboard, man. There was no play that was called up the last 2 minutes of the game. Instead, he verbally told the play to Mikhail, to OG, and then to Jalen. But like Mikhail and OG, those guys look so checked out, bro. They were just like nodding, and then they just looked away. And then I took a walk over to the Cavs bench, right? And I'm like, it's totally different. You see Johnny Bryan is up. He's coaching. When it comes to their huddles, they got whiteboards. The thing is with the Knicks, I feel like we didn't have a second option, third option, and I was just thinking like, damn, like
Mhm.
imagine. And then so where I sat was basically Mo Cheeks, Othello Harrington, and Daisuke. They were like right in front of me, right?
Mhm.
And those guys, like, I love them, mad respect for them, but I feel like, man, they just weren't. They didn't say a word the whole game, right?
Mhm.
There's like no assistant coaching, and I feel like Tibbs definitely. You can see he cares. Thibodeau definitely cares about the team,
Mhm.
but I just don't know if he got the juice anymore, man. Like this playoffs is gonna be something, fellas. Let's try to get to this watch party, man.
Let's get to it, man. Well, you know what will be, sir. Well, actually, you don't because we didn't announce it yet. But it's coming up. It's coming up. And you know there will be watch parties every game, and we might be throwing some surprises out there. That's all I can say for right now. So just stay
Yeah,
tuned,
CP,
man. Yeah.
CP. I just wanted to say this, man. I wanted to thank you for this platform because, like,
Yeah.
dude, this thing has given us and a lot of us like we're to be a Knick fan is a religion, you know.
It's true.
And it's just giving us something to vent. And I just want to tell you, thank you so much for all you guys have
Yeah.
done, man. Take care, fellas.
All good, man. All good, man. Well, without the support, you know, it's hard to do this on a regular basis. But you're right. It has become a valuable resource for the fans to come and vent and for us to come through and have a good time and enjoy the wins and the losses. And so we definitely are proud of what it's become. As Al said, you know, the content has grown from post-game to game of the week preview every day. We got CK play-by-play, JD's on play-by-play. We have our KFTV live shows, our interviews. Now we just launched Knicks in the City, our food shows. So we just going to keep it rolling, man. And hey, whatever you guys are looking for in this platform, we try to deliver. It is the For the Fans, by the Fans movement, and we appreciate it.
For sure, man. Even by the newsletter and all the other things, like there's
Yeah,
a lot
check
of
out the
content
newsletter.
there's a lot of content being put out every single day, whether it's written in your emails. That's the cool thing about the newsletter. Goes straight to your email. You don't gotta do any web search. Everything you need to know right there. Articles, merch, all right? When shows are gonna be dropping, there's a lot of content that goes into that. So we got you covered 24/7. But as CP said, and it's so true, man. It's like
Yeah.
without the support, it's just you and me just talking about the Knicks.
Yeah,
like
that's
barbershop talk.
That's it. And yeah, TM, if you could drop the link to the newsletter in the chat. Very important, as Alex said about the newsletter. As Nick Six Fix said about the watch parties, that's another benefit of the newsletter. Like some of you might not be on our social medias on a daily basis like how we are. So the best thing about the newsletter is it comes directly to your email. We don't waste your time. We put in valuable content where KFTV Jeff or Remy or Omar or the round table, like we just had our round table, we just dropped in the most recent newsletter. So you'll have those, and then you'll have any announcements, whether it's watch party, whether it's merge, whether it's, you know, key events that we're doing anywhere across the country. So make sure that you guys sign up for the newsletter because it comes right to your email. And again, it's a valuable effort for us and for you guys to knock into. Free to get in. Just drop your email in the link and click on subscribe to the email newsletter.
Who doesn't like free content, man?
Yeah.
So make sure to go subscribe, support the writers as well. Shout out to Jalen for always putting the newsletter together.
Shout
We
out
just
to
dropped an
KFTV
article
Jalen.
today talking about Tom Thibodeau. So for all you Tibbs people out there who
Yeah.
want to see what Jalen wants to see Tom Thibodeau do, or think he should do, I'd highly recommend checking out that article.
Absolutely. Let's get to the rhyme animal, Chuck D. Al. Let's get to Chuck in the building. Chuck, how you feeling, man?
90K.
Yes, sir.
Salute.
Salute to you, OG.
LCP, Knicks Nation. Damn. I mean, hey, man, on show 611. Hey, listen, no matter what anybody says about whatever it might be, this is the most exciting time ever. And if somebody doesn't think this has been a good season or anything exciting, I tell you one thing, they can't take their attention away from it. Go to
Must see
Cancun, go
TV.
somewhere else, go to Asia, go wherever, and not even check out the playoffs. They can't get away from it. Everybody's attention is on a high. Rapid fire for me real quick over this. Tibbs, come on. I think Tibbs this in April is more cardio checking out than cardiac. I think Tibbs, he's not going to go into deep rotations, but his way of rotations is stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. Tibbs in a by default type of way, kind of like, you know what? Next man up. And next man up means If somebody gets hurt, which we're gonna play playoff basketball, and no matter what anybody say, the Knicks' intensity in playoff basketball, I just gotta put it on the table. It gets players injured on the Knicks side and the opposing side. So his whole thing is like next man up is 0-0. We got 51 wins this year over 50 last year. That is progression. Here we go. Nobody got a crystal ball. I think he was getting a look. This April was weird, man. Dog days. He was getting an inside look at what Precious was going to do, Payne. He was giving everybody just like the look, right? Deuce and Mitchie came back. Shamet, he totally, stepped up. And I'll just say this in closing. Detroit got a whole bunch of vets on revenge. Bickerstaff might want to get us back. You got Hardaway. Tobias might want to get us back for last year. Beasley talks smack. Duran might be mad for being, traded by us. They got people like Schroeder. Yeah. We ready for him. We New York. And here's another thing about getting rid of coaches, style of getting rid of coaches early. And hear me on this. Denver and Memphis ain't going nowhere. If players were so much better than the coaches, then you'd be player coaches. There's no such thing. And here's another thing. Everybody want to talk about Boston. Boston is the epitome of a franchise that kept the culture, kept the system, and also stayed consistent. You don't think they for years they were trying to get rid of Brad Stevens? Brad Stevens stepped up into the front office, brought Maz into the head coaching. They for years up in Boston. You know this is a fact, Alex. They were trying to break up Tatum and Brown for so many years, 8 to 9 years, right? They even brought Horford back as a symbol piece.
Facts.
Yo, they put a role for Luke Cornett, and then they had the small pieces like Holiday and Porzingis. Boston just didn't all of a sudden become this super presto team. You're talking a team that was 10 years in the making, and the first 8 years, them Boston fans was killing them. Worse than we were doing for our team as Knicks fans. So let's go, Knicks. I'm ready. Let's go. 90,000. Let's do it.
Throw a hashtag PE in the chat for the rhyme animal Chuck D, man. Patience, and impatience if you have any left, ladies and gentlemen. We are locked in. If you have any left.
Oh man! I mean, to Chuck's point, they did look. They did say they needed a new voice. So that's the only thing I'll say. Tibbs. I know that Knicks Fix pointed out to the difference in like guys being in tune to what the coaches are saying between the Cavs and the Knicks bench. Doesn't mean you can't get a new voice in there to take them to another level. But to Chuck's point, also, it's going to take time. We're in year one, man. Even with like how we both gave our grades. You said B-, I said B. It doesn't mean it can't get better. But with the expectations coming into this season, that's all what we're talking about here. The expectations versus what we got as the end result. And look, playoffs is going to just add another layer to the grading to see how the season comes to a wrap, man. And so I'm looking forward to the postseason. I think a lot of people with this inevitability of like, all right, what's going to happen? They just want to get to this moment just to see how does this team stand up when the lights are the brightest? Is it still the team that we fell in love with last season with the grittiness, or is this going to be a different team that we haven't seen during the regular season and go to another level? And I'm looking forward to that, man. It's a new chapter, new story, and the Knicks are in control of making that.
Yeah, good points by you there, man. I was just pulling up a tweet while Chuck was on. Pulled up a tweet from Ian Begley. Tom Thibodeau, when asked about the Block Ness Monster Mitchell Robinson, says, I like the way Mitch is playing a lot. Now, there's no restriction. There's no back-to-backs. He's in a good place. Let's go. It's Mitchie time.
I mean, you saw against the Cavs, it was like 15 to 20 minutes. He played 32 minutes that night, my man. I was like, holy cow, we're not even – there is no increment. There's like
ramp-up time.
Ready to go.
I'm starting him off the rip, and it's not because and I'm going to do a more in-depth video on my rotations, my rotations for this series. I'm starting him right off the rip, not because I'm not confident in Hart, because I do think playoff Hart is going to emerge and bounce back, just like all these guys. I want to disrupt the flow and the rhythm of this Detroit team early out the gates. I don't want Towns at the 5. I don't want these guys getting a team who lives in the paint. I don't want them getting off to a good start or into a rhythm with Karl-Anthony Towns at the 5. I want Mitch out there to slow down the pick and rolls between Cade and Duren, which has been one of the best in the NBA. I want to try to control the dribble penetration between all their athleticism. I want to get after it on the boards, both offensively to give the Knicks second chance opportunities and to not give the Pistons, who are a good rebounding team, the opportunity to get out in transition, which they're also good at. So you want to slow those athletes down. You got to control the glass, and defensively, you got to control their rhythm or at least disrupt their rhythm and timing. I'm putting Mitchie out there. Starting with Mitchie.
For sure. And if we're just going to leave it at what this Pistons team is, and I talked about it on the most recent post game with Jeff when they played the Cavs. Look, this Pistons team is very similar to what the Knicks were last season. There's one guy who can score at all 3 levels. Everybody else is a role player. And so, like Brunson, Cade is very good at getting into the paint. Difference, he's a bigger guard. He's got more weight on him, so he can actually post people up and get into the paint. You know who's good at protecting the rim? Mitchell Robinson. So if you want to limit how much Cade can produce for everybody else, that's the big thing with having Mitch out there in that starting rotation.
Al, 90,000, end of the season, last one of the regular season. I knew this guy was going to come back eventually, man. Let's go to Tampa. Let's hear from our guy Rambo in the mix.
Oh, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. I knew he was coming back. Let's go.
He must have been doing chores, man, for that entire time.
Let's go.
Be the Undertaker music, because I'm back. You hear me? I'm back. Look, man, 2025 was a rough year for me. I'm not gonna lie, man. I've been out bad. I was out of work for 5 months, all that.
Sorry to hear that, man.
I don't want no sympathy. Put your violins away, okay? The regular season's over today, and we just hit 90K. You feel me? So I'm up right now. There's nothing that's gonna put me down. I'm tired of this now. I've been in a hyperbolic chamber right now, just chilling.
Let's go.
Just because I ain't been around, I've been listening. And I'm appalled. All these worst takes, all these callers coming in here.
Rambo, they scared out here, man. What's up with all this scariness out here, man?
Man, I don't know. They need to put their bibs away. You know what? This is what it is for me. It's an old thing, man. It's like when you never had something, so you don't know how to do with it. So that's how I feel with sometimes our fan base, man. We have a true contender right here, a real contender. And only had 3 goals for this year for this team. First year, because it's a 1-year grace period. This team is fairly new. Only had 3 goals, okay? Avoid the play-in. While coasting to the playoffs, okay? Secure home field advantage for the first round and come in mainly healthy. And they smashed all those for me. As a true contender, any team will pray and hope for those 3 goals to happen, okay? I know everybody's talking about, oh, we're not beating the elites of the elites. I don't care for that. Because at the end of the day, I look at this team, all right, and we're not built for a 1-game series, okay? We're not built for a play-in. We're built for a 7-game series. We're built for war, not no battles, man.
Let's go.
This team really has what it takes in order to reach that next level. And I hear all the tips. I hear all the tip stuff. I'm with you guys, okay? I hated Tips rotation, been a critic of his. You know, he's changed around the culture. I get all of this. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, Tips is not on the court. There's 5 men out there in the court playing 48 minutes. And I have complete confidence in every guy on that bench, on that court, to go in there and do a role and go out there and win a war, man. So if y'all not excited about the regulars, about the playoffs coming up, y'all need to switch y'all mode. Y'all need to take your Pampers off. Take the bibs out your mouth, because we tired of it, man. Y'all get hyped right now, man. This is the time where we really got to come together, man.
Let's go.
This team ain't no chumps, man. I don't got no team full of chumps.
Let's go.
I got Captain Clutch. You know, y'all want to talk about Mikal? Man, I can think about a handful of times I seen Mikal come up with the last-minute block. All right? Give me some of that. Give me some of OG. Give me some of Hart. Give me some of all that, man.
We got the Block Nest monster coming in healthy, man. Talk to me, man.
We're healthy. We're healthy, man. I'm not worried about it, man. I want to see what this team's going to do. They got a 1-year grace period. You know, my expectations for the playoffs, you know, it's probably lower than what I even think we're going to go. Which I think, you know, my expectation is, at least to the second round. But I believe we can really go further than that, man, because
Let's
we
go.
really got a team full of guys that are made up with that stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Space Jam, that stuff. MJ, that stuff. You know what I mean? They made up with that, man. These ain't no chumps, man. Everybody has somewhat of a championship pedigree, whether it's in college, whether it's an injury during the playoffs or the finals, whatever. They seen it. They've been there. They know what it takes. Man, y'all turn your hats around, man. Let's go. Let's get ready for war, man.
Throw some fives in the chat, man. Rambo from Tampa was back. I was waiting for this, Alex. This is why I was excited for today. I knew this was coming, man. Money time. The fan base is going to wake up. Take the diapers off. Put it away in the drawer. It is April. It is Knicks basketball time. Literally, he just ran off the list. We got Captain Clutch. You think Captain Clutch forgot how to play in the playoffs? You think Josh Hart forgot to play in the playoffs? You think OG Anunoby forgot to play in the playoffs? You think Mitchell Robinson forgot how to play in the playoffs? Hey, some of you guys say Karl Anthony Towns after that Game 7 against the Joker is built for it. I'll be the verdict on that. We'll see. But we got Deuce coming into the mix. Talk about it, Rambo.
90K.
90K. Shout out to Rambo for Tampa, man. Hold your head, man. Glad to hear from you. He said cue the Undertaker music. Once he said that, I knew he was back out. Let's go, man.
Rambo, did you do all your chores, man, so you could be locked in for every single game? Is the missus going to be happy that you're doing this now?
Is he still there? I think he
Did he drop? Oh, man.
Nah, he's still on, but maybe he dropped. To be continued with Rambo, man. Appreciate the call, man. Throw some fives in there for Rambo. Go ahead, Al. That's all I got, man.
As you were listing everybody off, I was like, hold on one second. Let me see if he gets to 2 names. I need to hear the 2 names.
Yeah. Look, we haven't seen him with this team yet in the playoffs. We haven't seen McCall with this team in the playoffs. At the end of the day, they've got to execute their team not without flaws. We know that. We know that Jalen and Towns are going to be the liabilities on the defensive end. But I believe that they can be the aggressors. They can dictate. The dog dictates. Mitchie dictates. Deuce dictates. We got to let it rip. Especially when they come to the Garden. Defense to offense has to be the name of the game. We have to get ferocious. We've seen this team like that. Not consistently, but they've gotten there. They've been that team. You know, it was very interesting, too. Like, they had on the MSG graphic on today's show, they had Josh Hart. And he finished, it was very interesting, he finished first in the league in loose balls recovered, 9th in steals, 10th in deflections, 11th in total rebounds, 5th in triple doubles, 16th in double doubles. Will we see that guy? I can't. Yo, he's been a playoff riser like JB, bro. I can't count him out. I just can't until I see it in the playoffs. I can't.
You can't, but you know that a lot of the fan base is now. It's not Josh Hart's fault. It's Tibbs's thing when it comes to coaching. Because, look, man, I go on social media and I see that Hart gets a lot of hate, and it's not because of who he is as a player. It's because of how he's utilized, especially in crunch time, and just like some of the lineups that Tibbs could be throwing out there. If you want more spacing, because we know that Josh Hart is, at times, allergic to putting up threes, man. Even when he's wide open, he likes to do the pump fake, drive to the basket, and it's like, look, man, just let it rip. Do what you did last year against Philly. Do what you were doing the beginning of the season this year. All right, he was knocking down stuff. He was knocking down threes at 37% on decent volume. Think about 4 attempts per game. Like, that's the guy that you need, someone who's not afraid to let it fly. And so, look, he's going to be that guy. I expect him to rise up to the challenge. And look, if you want to believe that this team has figured something out defensively, CP, over the last 10 games, I know people are going to say, look at the quality of opponent, and not having JB there as well. But these are the last 10 games. Over the last 10 games, the Knicks are in the top 10 when it comes to defensive rating. So the defense is on the up and up. You have Mitchell Robinson back, who can cure a lot of those woes. I know that it has not been great defensively for this team. But you can be a little optimistic that maybe they figured something out, especially if they put Mitchell Robinson into that rotation, especially the starting rotation, and give him a healthy amount of minutes with Karl Anthony Towns.
Good, well said. Well said. And Josh raised some eyebrows yesterday with a cryptic tweet. Because yesterday, for some reason on Saturday, everybody just like the Debbie Downers and the diaper babies were, the babies were just going crazy. But his tweet said, "The hatred is always loud." I don't know if that was, I don't know. These guys have this way of communicating these days. It's not really straightforward. These young whippersnappers, man, they don't really communicate in like a straight line. It's always like, you have to decode. You got to have the decoding book next to you to figure out what they're talking about. So I don't know.
No one better than SGA.
Yeah, no one better. So, salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit the thumbs up button for you boys. I'll shout out a sponsor of today's show, and that is DraftKings, man. Who's scoring big in the NBA this season? You are, with all the new ways to get in on the action. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. From monster slams to the dishing the rock to cleaning the glass, get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of the NBA player props. Here's something special for first-time customers. For all you guys that haven't used our code yet, use our code KFTV. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Take it to the rack with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KFTV, as I said, for the $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. And for additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. Okay, TV the Fanchise, Alex Trataros. Knicks win the season finale. Let's get back to the people on the phones. Let's go a little rapid fire because we got a lot of people as well. King Matthews, go ahead and unmute your mic. King Matthews.
How you guys doing tonight?
Good, man. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great, man. Until playoff time, I'm ready for the playoffs, man. I wanted to start already. Let's go.
Let's go.
And shout out to y'all with the 90K, man.
Salute to you, man. You've been holding us down for years now, man. So, we appreciate you being here, man.
Of course, man. Of course, man. If it wasn't for y'all, I'll be stuck with ESPN. Listen to Shaq and those other bones, bro. But y'all here 24/7 representing the orange and blue, man. And we're just not a Knicks fan base. We're a Knicks family. Through the good and bad, we're always here 24/7. Sitting in the bench, watching y'all, supporting 24/7. You know what I'm saying, man. That's what I got to say, man. And lastly, before I go, Shamet, it's time to give Detroit a whole lot of spanking. Knicks in 5.
Let's go.
Take it easy, fellas.
King Matthews, talk that talk. Let's go. Knicks gang, you next. I'll mute your mic. Hello? All right. That guy, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on with him. All right. Okay. All right. Let's go to Zach. Zach, I don't mute your mic.
Yo, can you hear me, guys?
Loud and clear. How you feeling?
I'm chilling, man. Word, and congratulations on the 90K.
Appreciate
everybody. You fam. You know, as I say, the show's the truth, man. So we appreciate you.
Appreciate it, man.
No worries. All I have to say is playoff poise, man. This is the time that this is what this team was built for. You know, putting all these players together, putting the dog, the cat, AB. We're ready for the war. I just can't wait for game 1 Saturday.
Yes, sir. Lock in, man. Appreciate the call. Appreciate the support. That's our guy Zach checking in from the left coast, man. Wherever you guys are watching from, man. Like I said, Zach is checking in from Cali. I'm in here in New York. Al's up there in Beantown. Throw your cities, throw your countries, throw your flags in the chat. Let us know where you guys are checking in from. And we're going to go back to the phones. JG on the Discord.
How's it going?
How you doing, man? What's your name? Where you calling in from, bro?
I'm good. I'm Josh Conan from New York.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. First of all, congrats on the 90K.
Appreciate
awesome.
it, man.
Love to hear it. So, with me, over the past couple weeks, obviously we've had some tough losses, fan base kind of crashing out. And, I think, we went 51-31. A new season now. Playoffs is new completely, and you got people talking about, Tibbs to get fired or this. Like, even if people don't like Tibbs, I don't even think that should be a conversation right now. Like, we're going right into the playoffs. We're fully healthy, which is great. Mitch has looked very good. Brunson, just a year ago, was putting up historic performances in the playoffs, Michael Jordan type numbers in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm not really, worried about this team so much. Like, I think, Detroit, they're a tough physical team. We got the experience, we got skill. I think everybody can really come together and just, figure it out. And, I wanted to ask you guys, because I heard you guys say you think Mitch should be starting with Cat.
Yeah. What do you think?
So I've always said that I think him and Cat should be getting a lot more minutes together in the playoffs. The one thing with them, I guess, starting together is that at that point, your only big man really off the bench is, I guess, Precious.
Yeah.
Which,
it's iffy.
So, like, I don't think, unless, I mean, we'll see, I guess, but I don't think Tibbs is really going to want to be giving Precious minutes.
Right.
Which is why I was thinking, like, all right, if they go with the regular starting five and just have, it would depend on how Tibbs wants to disperse those minutes, because if you start them together, then you only have a big man coming off the bench. Then it's like, how do you disperse those minutes a little bit if you don't want to give Precious minutes or have him be the only big man in there? But I do want to see them more together, because I think also Mitch being in there, even though Cat's never going to be a good defender, but Mitch being in there will help, hide that a little bit.
Yeah. I just want to set a good tone, man.
Right.
Whoever we got to get in there, like if Precious got to get his minutes, hey, he looked pretty decent against Detroit. And also, I just want to match up, man. Get physical, get gritty. Precious he's got his grittiness back over these last couple of games, man. I like how he's playing as well.
Yeah, no, and I've liked how Precious is playing too. And I do think Hart coming off the bench could actually help him in a sense where, I think he's better than most. Like, he starts for us and he's put up career year numbers. I think him coming off the bench, I think he's better than a lot of bench players and could help set the tone for the bench when coming and playing with that second unit. So it definitely could work. I would just want to see, how Tibbs kind of disperses those lineups.
Yeah.
Because also, like, to be completely honest with you, like, I know when DeLon Wright was playing, there was kind of a conversation going around, like, who should be in the playoff rotation, him or Campaign. I don't know if either of them should really be in the rotation now that I think about it. Like, in my mind, I think, like, Deuce should just be the backup point guard. I think Shamet has more than earned his minutes with the way he's been shooting lately. And I don't really, like, Campaign, man, he scares me. He just, wants to get his shots up. And, sometimes they'll go in, but sometimes it's like he'll take a 35-footer out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it just disrupts everything.
Yeah, and appreciate the call, man. All good takes by you,
sure.
JG, and
Thanks,
hopefully you call back during the playoffs and during this week. My thing, Al, is I hear him with the Mitch thing, because I was thinking about Tattoo. It's like, damn, if you start Mitch, then you start in your two centers, so then do you have to play Precious? But I'm just like, man, like, it's all hands on deck for me. Like, if one of these guys get foul trouble, or at least to have Mitch out there to set the tone. Don't mean that him and Towns have to be out there all the time, right? You're still looking at 25, probably 30 minutes-ish of Mitch per game. You still want to still keep him fresh. I just want to set a good tone and make sure that Detroit doesn't get into any type of rhythm offensively, or at least do my best defensively to do that and also control the glass. And then from the guard spot, I don't trust Payne at all. The issue is when you throw Deuce out there off the bench, who is he playing with to make sure that we're getting enough offense generated to get him the ball off ball where he can do a bit more damage so that he's not on ball, putting up contested shots all the time. You get what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying. That's Deuce is not a traditional point guard. As a guy who create for others and still be like Brunson to find his own shot. But I'm gonna, before I continue on McBride, I do want to get to the Mitch thing, because I think that's an interesting conversation. I think the thing that you can do is just, they both start. I mean, Cat's played 36, 38 minutes, man. That's like 10 minutes where essentially he's getting a rest. Those are minutes that you can figure out how to stagger those guys. They don't, as you said, they don't have to share the floor every single time while they're out there together. You can clear look, if it's 4 minutes in, 5 minutes in, one of them goes to the bench, the other one plays a little bit more of the first quarter. You bring the other one back in, keep give him a little bit of a breather, keep the legs warm, fresh, so that way he's not going in there coming in cold. I think the other thing Tom Thibodeau has to do is just get a little bit comfortable with being uncomfortable in his philosophies and go small for a little bit. Okay, I mean, when you run pressures out there, you're running a bit small, so why not, accept that. Say, hey, let's put a lot of shooters out there. Let's get out there and run. Let's make Detroit have to play to our style instead of having to play to their style. I think we do that a little too much, where we have to say, let's match what they're doing. Instead, we should be the aggressors, even from a strategic standpoint, and have the opposing team, hey, if they're going small, we got to go small. I think that's the first thing regarding Mitch's minutes. For McBride, this is where you got to think, do you expand it to 9 at this point? Because who's your natural creator off the bench? And even tonight, you see that campaign can look for guys and get assists. It's just that he's been very comfortable with the current second unit and putting up shots. And that's why I like DeLon Wright, man. He's just a steady hand. He plays defense. He's not looking to do too much. He's looking to be a connector, just fit into the flow of what the offense is trying to do. That's why I'm like, if you got to go 9, man, you need somebody to give Brunson another 10 minutes, especially at the point guard, unless you're going to ask Bridges to be an initiator.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
that's going to be the other option,
right? I would say if I'm gonna have Deuce out there when Brunson's not out there, I need to have Cat out there for sure. I need to have Cat or maybe Bridges. You know what I mean? Someone has to be able to generate some sort of offense, whether it's like playing inside out with Cat or playing with Cat at the pitch post and having guys cut. I don't want to get into a situation where Deuce has to run offense and then force contested shots off the dribble. You know what I mean? Because that's not really where you want Deuce. He can hit them, but it just makes his job a lot tougher. Another positive, if I'm giving Wright more minutes, I've got to also slow Schroeder down. That's their energy guy off the bench. So I want to disrupt his time. I'm not saying that Delon is a lockdown, but I need somebody with a bit more smarts, size. Because how tall is Schroeder? What's he about, 6'3"?
Yeah, something like that.
I want Delon out there. Wingspan, slow him down. You don't want Schroeder, especially in like a Game 3 situation, Game 4, in their building, get the crowd going. You want to quiet that quickly. Now, the rough spot is Delon like the best facilitator? No, but he's a smart passer, and he'll go with the flow. It'll get a little bit dicey, but you're only talking about, again, like 8 minutes or so here.
It's not a lot.
It's really
not a lot. It's not a lot. So that's where it looks more of like an 8.5-man rotation. Look, that's all you need. You need to give Brunson some rest here. But this is where, you look at Tom Thibodeau and you say throughout the regular season, have you done anything to alleviate Brunson from being the sole creator? Have you done anything else? Like, if you're watching the entire course of the regular season, like we all see it. We watch this team all 82, as you always say, CP. And we come back saying, what is going on with Cam and just putting up shots and not looking for the flow of the offense? This is what I wish Tibbs did do during the regular season. And we saw once Brunson went out, give Bridges a little bit more responsibility with that second unit to be the creator. Because we see that he can do that. He averaged 6 assists while 4 to 6 assists while Brunson was out. Give him those opportunities, man. I feel like if you wanted to alleviate that, if you wanted to keep a shorter rotation, you have to get guys like him a little bit more repetition in doing stuff like that. And I just don't see that Tibbs is going to shake up his philosophies, his coaching style that much into the postseason. And while, we're talking about good things, I just don't know how you don't go into this postseason and Tibbs doesn't get a full evaluation of hey, are we leaving a little bit too much on the bone here because the team could be elevated to another level? That's going to be a big conversation, man, because when you look at the first matchup, and I think even against Detroit, because of their physical play style, we saw what happened last season against Philly, right? Where the team came out with a lot of injuries. They were a little bit more exhausted. It was very taxing, that series.
Yeah.
And Detroit's more than willing to, play in the mud. I think the Knicks, for their safety, they have to finish this series at max 5 if you're going to go against Boston. Because Boston's going to be a whole battle, man. You can't let this – you got to be locked in serious. You can't let the series get out of hand. take them out in 5 max, get your rest, because that Boston series, you got to be healthy, you got to be rested. That's going to be another challenging level that you have to step up to, because we saw even in game 4, true dress rehearsal against the reigning champs.
Yeah,
there was some fumbling and bumbling in the fourth quarter in OT, and you got to be well rested and locked in to take on that team. So that's all I got to say about that.
Salute to Rambo from Tampa, celebrating 14 months as a Fanchise channel member, so a year and change. Shout out to the Rye Man on Chuck D. Out $50 super chat says, "This is the time to leave blood on the court. Nobody is diving for anything March and early April. The Knicks style and culture is carnivorous. Watch and see the New York football Knickerbockers and know that the referees won't be on our side. Watch out." Well, that's the thing. These guys can't get caught in the complaining game between Cat, Brunson, Hart. They've got to hurry back on defense. Those 3 guys, and I forgot who was I talking to. I think it was Steph. We were talking about Towns hitting the deck. When you're driving, he has to be calculated on his drives. He's got to be calculated, and because once we lose him, now you're 4 on 5. You got Brunson out there trying to defend. Now you're 3 on 5. Don't compound your transition defense by like forcing. Like, I like when he does force the issue and be aggressive, but you got to be smart, because he hits the deck all the time, and then we're cooked on the defensive side of transition. So that's definitely something to watch with Karl Anthony Towns. Okay, we got some locker room sound bites we want to get to, so let's get to it. I think, Al, you sent me some. Let's hear from Deuce. Deuce met with the media in the locker room after the Knicks win, talking about the series. Let me make sure I turn my volume up first. Shout out to Deuce, big part of the Knicks bench. See what Deuce has to say here. Here we go.
What do you make of the Detroit matchup? What do you think of the 1-2 record against them? What do you think about it though?
I mean, obviously a great team. It's 0-0 now. That's all we're looking to.
What kind of challenge does Kate present to his defense?
Yeah, he's a great player. Obviously, his size, his shooting ability. He's a 3-level scorer, so we're just going to do our best to stop him as a team. It's not a one-man mission, so whatever we can do as a team to slow him down.
What do you?
All right, that's Deuce McBride on the series. 0-0. That's what I like to hear, man. 0-0 from Deuce McBride. This was an interesting one that you sent me here, Al. This was from Alan Hahn on PJ Tucker. Let's hear this one. Here we go.
I had a conversation with him.
Make sure I got this up. Hang on. Let's make sure we got our volume up here. Okay.
Just about this. I had a conversation with him just about this. And what we've noticed is in huddles, he'll do a lot of talking. And I asked him, like, you just got here. Like, why are you the one being the voice in the huddle? And he said, because no one else is. And I saw that. And there's a team that has a lot of talent, but there's not enough talking going on and communication. And I feel like I have to do that. He said, I had to do that when I went to Milwaukee, that Giannis wasn't a big talker. Chris Middleton was a quiet guy. He's like, so somebody had to be the guy that just kept giving those reminders, keep talking to guys, keep them focused, pumped up, motivated, whatever it took. He said, I played that role. He goes, that I relish that role. Like, that's what I want to be, so I can be that here with this team, whether I'm playing or not. And he was a big part of that championship team Milwaukee had. And it wasn't that he had big numbers, but it was that he was a guy that understood the importance of communication, to making sure everybody, as he just said there, was on point with all the details. Because talent is one thing in the playoffs, but if you're on point on your details, it can win you a series just alone that way. His experience to be on this team is valuable. And I could see him sneaking a couple of minutes here and there in a physical series like this, because he knows what it's about, and he certainly is all about that life. I had a conversation.
Wow.
A lot was said there, man.
A lot was said there, Al. And what was very interesting is very interesting because everybody who saw this Tucker acquisition, we assumed that's why they brought him here, right?
Yep.
To be that veteran, to be the voice in the locker room, to be a leader. But when you hear him tell Alan Hahn, because nobody was doing it, now you know this was a dire situation. And maybe a very calculated and great move by Leon Rose to say, you know what, this team is because I always looked at Brunson, even though he rocks the C, to me, he rocks it as a leader on the court.
Yes.
By example, which is great. Everybody leads differently. But they needed a guy like similar to Hart to call guys out. But what Hart is saying is that from a veteran leadership standpoint in calling out the details, that's why Tucker's here.
You need that. You cannot have somebody leading by example, very important. Like just watching sports for so long, man. Even when I can tell you that as a Jets fan, the year where they went the second AFC championship that they went to, they talked about Jericho Cotchery because they didn't do any captains for those 2 seasons when Rex was there. Jericho was that guy who led by example, work ethic, and all those things. Not a star wide receiver, but a guy who always consistently was like first one in, last one out, put in the work. Bart Scott, that vocal guy that would be out there to hype everybody up, keep everybody focused in that locker room. And you need somebody like that. And so it's great that they brought P.J. Tucker in to do those things. Sad that it took waiting until we got P.J. Tucker here because, look, man, like if you've played sports, if you've been part of any locker room, someone's got to hype you up. Someone's got to keep you locked in, motivated. Just because you're on the court, you're doing your job, right? You're not necessarily focusing on what everyone's got to do, but someone who's on the sideline, someone who's watching what's going on, who could see the entire bird's eye view of what's, unfolding on the court. Very important that somebody could just say, hey, this is what's happening, talking to everybody in their ear, someone that can relate to them. This has always been a critique of Tom Thibodeau that he couldn't relate to players and do this type of stuff, right? That's why you brought in guys like who like Johnny Bryant, right? You bring in Mike Woodson. You bring in all these guys so that way they can connect with the players and be that alternative voice to help guys on the court. And let's just even think about having Derrick Rose in here, right? And just knowing that not really anybody in the locker room that was doing that to hype guys up and really talk. So great that PJ Tucker's here. A little alarming because I think even with that, if you don't have somebody who's initially in the locker room who could be that vocal and be that dog, be that leader, it's kind of hard just to like create something out of nothing, and instill that type of mindset. So it's a tad bit concerning, but thank God you got PJ Tucker here, and you can see. Hopefully, we see that transpire in the postseason because, as Alan Hahn said, that like even though you have all the talent in the world, you need somebody with that mentality to say, "Hey, this is how you walk in. This is what you got to do."
Yeah, and I think people in the chat are saying, well, I thought Jalen should be the main guy, or I thought it was Josh. It's not about like getting guys in order or calling guys out as much as it is. Han mentioned the details. This guy won a championship. Josh Hart never won anything in his life before he came to the Knicks, right? He was on bum Laker teams. He was on bum Pelicans teams. He was on bum Portland teams. Like, he never won anything. This is about details. Why these guys are never on the same page and in late game situations. It's on the coach for sure. I'm not absolving the coach. And it's on the players to execute. But to have another guy, another leader who's won a championship, he's got the cachet. He's been there. Grit and grind on several teams. Not one championship with several teams, but he's been on several good teams. Played for several coaches. I think there's value to that. Now let's see how it plays out in when they get to money time. But it's a different type of leadership. It's an experience leadership. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And it's just tough, man, because like you bring him in at this moment to be that. But to me, it's more like, I don't know. I feel like with Tibbs, like if it's not having a coach, like this just goes back to like what's happening, right? Like what's happening in that locker room, what's being digested, how are guys holding each other accountable, man? Like I forget who was talking about it, but you need a little bit of friction in that locker room. You need a little bit of friction in that locker room, calling guys out, saying who's not doing their job, what you got to focus on. And PJ is definitely that dude. Like he'll get in your face and be like, yo, you're not doing this. You have to do this. Even the guy that we all like, we groan when we hear this guy speak. It's Draymond Green. He is that dude for the Warriors.
Yeah.
Right? Even when he called KD soft, right? Like he gets in people's faces to say, yo, you got to step up and do your job because we know we can get more out of you. We know that you can do better. A little sad to hear that hasn't really happened in the locker room and that we don't have somebody to do that. But that's why you got PJ.
Yeah.
But also,
used to be Taj. That's why Taj was here on 3 tours, right?
Hey, Derrick Rose was here for that reason too, man. Like
Derrick
a
Rose
different
is
type
here.
of leadership, but somebody that can communicate to the team. I'll also say this: the fact that these guys, that you don't have that type of leadership in the locker room prior to PJ, explains a lot about the defense, the lack of communication, and being out there in transition defense too. I mean, you've had Steph on the show many times. Says there's not enough communication. These guys got to learn how to communicate.
Yes, sir. CP and Alex on the ones and twos. A couple more things before we wrap. So to the replay gang, of course. Also remember that these shows are available in audio podcast format. So no reason to miss it. If you have to jump off, do something with your Sunday, catch us on all podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, we are there. And leave us a review if you don't mind. Shout out to Father Pete's Fanchise channel member. $20 super chat says 90K salute. CP Alex Shady and the chat gang. In spite of the roller coaster ride, it feels good to be going to the playoffs versus looking forward to the draft. Let's get ready and get ready to stand behind our guys. Salute to him. Salute to Jay from the Lou as well. Marco Stoyanov, a $50 Romanian super chat, says, let's appreciate the season and hope for the best. We are healthy, and the most important thing, we have 7 great rotation pieces. Then we pray. Second round, we'll say if Tibbs stays or goes. Salute. Okay. All right. Shout out to Marco, man. Longtime supporter. Okay, a couple other things that we want to touch on before we wrap. Like I said, we got an action-packed week coming up. Can't wait. Playoff time, money time. Let's go. Stan Van Gundy out.
No boy.
Yeah. Let's put him up here, man, because it wouldn't be the end of the last regular season episode of Knicks Fan TV's Postgame Live without a segment of Worst Take. On Worst Take, we go around the NBA media landscape reacting to Knicks takes, Knicks sound bites, you name it. And we react to it. And so on this episode of Worst Take, Al, Stan Van Gundy, former coach of the Detroit Pistons, was asked about the relationship between the Knicks and their fans, between the fan base and the Knicks. And Van Gundy on Knicks fans said this, per the New York Post, Steve Serby. They're front-running fans. They're in love with their team when things are going well, but they'll boo their team off the floor when they're not playing well. That's not a crowd that's focused on lifting you up. Your thoughts?
I can now understand why Josh Hart had Stan Van Gundy as his least favorite head coach, because this man makes no sense on what he's talking. It's bad enough I got to listen to your commentary, Stan, but now you got to talk about the fan. First of all, let me just say this. I was watching this team when it was awful, all right? Awful. And I still rock with this team when it was awful, all right? The fans are locked in 24/7, all right? 365 with no matter who you put out on the court. MSG always sells out, all right? It's not fair weather fans over here. Get that nonsense away, all right? We've been here watching Emmanuel Mudiay. You can go back to watching Eddie Curry on this team. You can talk about any player. I got hyped when we got Amari Stoudemire, all right? Raymond Felton and Amari Stoudemire. I was hyped for that team. For Stan to say that, we're essentially, they'll boo their team off their floor when they're not playing well. Like, I'll watch this team regardless. I will say this, though. It just shows how passionate we are. Like, we want to see this team compete. We're not a bad fan base. We want to see this team compete. We love this team no matter what. And so I think when you hear fans boo, it's because we expect better out of this team. We expect better out of this franchise. It's not some fan, fair weather fan nonsense. I think Stan just needs to keep quiet and focus on, doing his own damn thing.
I mean, it was the most ridiculous take I've ever heard. I mean, one of. I'll say that. It's definitely one of the worst takes we've heard all year. And for Stan Van Gundy to say that, that's a veteran head coach. He's coached as an opposing coach in the Garden for a decade or plus. This is passion. There's nothing front-running about the Knicks fan. They are the most passionate fan base, the most loyal. They haven't won a championship in 50-plus years, Stan. The place is still sold out. Home, on the road, playoffs, summer league, preseason. We are there for this team. Haven't won a championship in 50 some odd years. The Knicks fan, they pay their money. They buy their season tickets. They buy their merch. Everything. Locked in with this team. Every time. I mean, you go through the dark days of the 2000s, 20 years of darkness. I mean, from the Steph years to the Melo years to Chris Duhon running the point, Michael Doliak, Stephon Marbury pick and roll. The Garden faithful has been there. Regime to regime, locked in, hopeful, delusional, and still there. That is us. That is absolutely us. And as you see it, from city to city, I said this year, the Knicks fan puts money on your team's books. Ask the Wizards fan how bad, ask the Wizards ownership how bad the Knicks fan is when we come to town. The Charlotte Hornet fan, the Orlando Magic fan, Miami Heat. I can go on and on. I've been there. We went to Miami, had it rocking. We went to Atlanta, had it rocking. We put money on your team's books. So never ever say that the Knicks fan is a front runner because they boo their team. They want excellence. There's nothing wrong with that. If I'm a fan and I'm being charged $500 for the nosebleed seats, you charge me $20 for a glizzy, hey, that's a pretty price to pay. No, I shouldn't just go home and be happy with it. If the product stinks, the fan should be able to react. That's what makes them a fan. They are a fanatic.
You know, CP, you know it's interesting that with Stan Forget, there is a Knicks for clicks thing out there, right? I mean, why do they constantly put out articles? Why do they cover a team? And why they always make a mockery? Why? Because they know Knicks fans, as passionate as they are, will come out, defend the team, even for how bad it was. I'd defend Alonzo Trier, man, for how bad this team was. All right? Like, get out of here. Like, publishing companies will put out articles about the Knicks, mocking them. And our fan base will go and protect this team. That is passion. That is how much we love this team. And you know what? You know, CP, and this is good for the next segment, as much as Knicks fans love their team, what are other opposing arenas doing?
Let's talk about it.
Because we love this team so much.
Let's talk about this, man. I mean, you just can't make it up. This is why it was like perfect timing when he brought this up to when this came out. Because as we talk about playoffs and as we talk about tickets, the Detroit Pistons, Al, for their playoffs are limiting, on Ticketmaster, are limiting the purchases to customers located in Michigan, parts of Ohio, Indiana, and Ontario, Canada, as determined by the Pistons and subject to change. A customer's eligibility to purchase tickets for this game is determined by the credit card billing address utilized for the transaction. Orders by customers outside of the billing address restricted area will be canceled without notice, and those customers will receive a refund. Al, good people of the chat, the Pistons are shook and they are scared of the New York takeover. They're scared.
Yeah, they are scared. And look, Stan Van Gundy, this is where you need to shut up. All right, man? Look at this. We got opposing arenas because they saw what we did to Philadelphia last year. And they said, whoa, we can't have that in the first round because these, fair weather fans here, these front-running fans, as you call it, Stan, we just spend money endlessly. We'll get on a plane to go follow this team wherever they go because that's how much of front-runners we are. Get out of here with this nonsense, man. But then for Detroit to do this, you afraid of the smoke? You afraid? Come on, man. You got your team acting like the bad boy Pistons. Can't be doing this, man.
They are shook, man. Right now, I'm showing the Philly takeover. Who was there for the Philly takeover? Game 4. Shout out to J. Cal. They had us all over ESPN, TNT. Me, the Knicks chick, Jeff. Sea of Knicks fans. You saw Terry and Trey in the mix. We took over. And what did Philly do the next night? They had to buy up the seats for Game 6 for firefighters, first responders. It was a good gesture by them, but it just showed the power of this fan base. Okay? So that is for Stan Van Gundy, man. Get your facts straight because that, Stan, is a worst take. Absolute worst take.
Awful.
Yeah.
People are asking if this is legal to do.
You know what? Yeah, several people are asking if it's legal to do. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. I'm not sure.
I think I don't know. I don't know how it would go, but they are a private entity. They can limit the license to whoever enters there. They can do whatever they want. They can restrict.
I would have to think so. But look, but the bottom line is these are desperate measures. Why?
And we haven't even played a game yet, man.
Why? Well, for one, because they know the tickets are cheaper. They know the Knicks fan who is maybe coming from New York. We got fans all over the place.
Willing to spend $500 for a nosebleed.
We willing to spend ducats, but that $500 in Detroit, that will get you a nice seat in the house,
dude.
A nice seat. You know what I'm saying?
And it's not that far from New York. It's about an hour and a half flight, man. So
hour and a half flight.
It's like a road trip.
You want to hop on a bus? You want to hop on a Peter Pan Chinatown bus? 13 hours, maybe. Hey,
the mega bus, the $1 back. Remember the $1 back in the day?
Remember that? That was way back in the day.
Pray for your life to get there in one piece.
Yeah. Pray that the steering wheel is on the bus. Yeah, so those are the desperate tactics that Detroit is doing to try to keep us out of there. The Knicks fan will find a way. We will find a way. If we got to call a cousin up, out in Detroit, we ain't talked to him in years, but hey, throw that on the CC, man. You got it, man. I got you, man. I'll pay you back on a Venmo or something. Something quick like that.
Get the VPN going, CP.
Get the VPN going. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's just some funny stuff we had to share and laugh about for sure. And, hey, for you guys at home, man, use our code, man. Playoff tickets for the Knicks are available, and as you know, they are pretty penny, man. So make sure you guys are using our code SeatGeek on SeatGeek, KFTV 10 for 10% off. Or if you haven't used the KFTV code for $20 off, you can use that one as well. I just talked to somebody that was asking about it, so you can use that as well. So if you're going to Detroit, if we're gonna mob out, use our code KFTV or KFTV 10 to get even a bigger deal on the already cheap prices. All right, let's show them, man. They can't treat us like that, man. Putting money on your books and you scared. That's funny, man. It's really funny. It really is, man. I love us, man. I just love it here, man. Yeah. All right, salute to everybody in the chat, man. Let's do our giveaway. So tell the people we appreciate them. And let's also take another call, man. Let's go to another call. We will be back tomorrow night. So whoever didn't get on tonight, definitely get on tomorrow. Let's go to Tone. Tone on the Discord. Go ahead and unmute your mic. Tone. Do we have Tone? Okay. Do we have Tone? All right. Yes, we do. Tone, there? Okay. Zay from Maryland. Go ahead. Oh, do we have Zay? Okay. Let's go to Zay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Zay. How you feeling, bro?
All right. What's going on, guys? How y'all feeling today?
Good, man. Sunday night, Sunday.
Good day, right?
Yeah.
End of the regular season. All right. I just want to throw a few things out. I know we last minute on everything. So the record right now in the playoffs is 0-0. Everybody's at 0. Everybody started over, okay? So all of the narratives about the top teams, records against top teams, all of that means nothing. I want everybody to remember, also, this is year one. This is still year one. So when you talk about, the leaders in the locker room and things like that, we're still trying to get the team to even just understand who the leaders are, right? Cat's first year here, Bridges' first year here. Similar to when Randall first came to New York, right? They don't understand that there's a mixed text even with the refs, right? You're not going to get all those calls that you probably was getting at your old team. So it's kind of just a refresh altogether, right? Go back to the lab. At the end of the day, wherever we get in the playoffs, it's going to be a learning lesson. They're going to go back to the lab, and next year going to be even better, okay? So if this is the floor, we got to understand it as such and not necessarily get so down on it. We still got to believe in the team. And at the end of the day, the playoffs is about luck and chances, right? You hear a lot of the guys, the Draymonds and everybody, when they talk about championship, a lot of it is luck and chance. At the end of the day, health is a big factor. I think this is the healthiest we've ever been going into the playoffs, right? So you just don't know what can happen. Right now, Jaylen Brown is hobbled a little bit, so you don't know what the Boston Celtics are going to do. You don't know what's going to happen when we meet them. But I would rather meet them in the second round than in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I like this path we're at, and this path is going to be to prove ourselves. And at the end of the day, we're going to learn a lot from this past. So at the end of the day, everybody just need to get behind the team. You know, at the end of the day, we need to preach. Knicks fans, it's Knicks or nothing, right? Don't worry about any other outlets, ESPN. None of them, they don't matter.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know the team the way we know it. 82 games. I've been watching it. I watch about 95% of the games live, or I watch highlights, or I watch KnicksFanTV as the post game. So I'm in, right? I'm committed to it. So we know more than any other outlet out there. At the end of the day, support the team. We're gonna be good. Whether it's this year, next year, we are built to last, and that's the truth. That's all I want to say, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Zay from Maryland, man. Appreciate the call. True KFTV supporter. And I'm glad you get to call in on the day that we celebrate 90K, man. Salute to Zay from Maryland, man. Big up yourself. And appreciate the years of support. The years of support, man. Shout out to Zay from Maryland, Al. Shout out to JB Klug. $5 super chat says, yeah, so we answered his question about the Pistons really limiting tickets. And yeah, absolutely. Says, do we have home court advantage? Of course we do. So shout out to JB Klug for the super chat. Okay, let's get to the giveaway, man. Let's get to the giveaway. All right, let's get.
Didn't Stan Van Gundy used to coach the Detroit Pistons?
Yeah, he did.
CP.
He did.
You know what we don't got to do in New York? We don't got to limit ticket sales. You know why? Because it's going to be eaten up by those, front running fans.
Yeah. Hey, listen, hey, you got to do what you got to do. It's not our problem.
Nope.
If you're scared, you're scared. It's okay. All right, so we've come to that time of the show, people. The time of the show where a Fanchise channel member gets to go home with a prize. And we've been doing this all year. And part of your support as Fanchise channel members, we like to give back. This year, we gave away a lot of things, man. From books, when we have our authors on, we give away autographed copies of books. We've given away merch. We've given away game tickets. We've given away jerseys, autographed Nova jersey. Sorry, Ari, he didn't win. But on this one, we are going to give away our once a Knick, always a Knick 18 by 24 print. You can get these on KnicksFanTV.com. We got a couple more left for sale before Fanchise channel member. This one of these is going to go home to you. And as you see, this is a nice mural, a nice collage of Knicks past, present, and future. Holding it up now. Who we got here? Carmelo Anthony next to Jeremy Lin. Look at that. Look at that union. Look at that holy union right there. Don't they look happy together? Look at my man, the X-Man. Anthony Mason. Right behind him, Emmanuel Quickly. To his right, the Pearl. Josh Hart. Yeah, we got Julius in there. Julius Hive. Oh, Taj Gibson. Salute to the vet. Is that Doc Rivers? Yes, it is.
Oh, JR.
Derrick Rose. Shout out to Earl. The captains. Brunson, Ewing, and Reed. David Lee did the damn thing here. The dog, OG Anunoby, looking right next to Marcus Camby. That's a nice pairing right there. That would be a nice squad. Jamal Crawford, always happy, next to Starberry. We got the big Ragu in there. On the left-hand side, there goes Clyde. Styling and profiling. Bernard King. Latrell Sprewell. There goes Nate, man. Happy he's back and healthy. Star J, Broadway Barrett. Can't forget about him. How about that? Karl Anthony Towns and Big Bodega. John Starks. Larry Johnson. Derek Harper, my guy. So, truth be told, the artist originally put Greg Anthony in there. I was like, get him out of there and put my guy Harp in there. You know what I'm saying, Al? We need Harp in there. Get Harp in the mix. I wanted Harp in there. Special edition. Al,
hey, you got Obi Toppin in there too, man.
We got the dud pick in there. That was for the fans. I didn't want that one either. But Al, yours is in the mail. CK, JD, yours is in the mail. I got extras here. So, with that,
CB didn't mention Phil Jackson.
Yeah, it was a little iffy. But anyway, so for the Fanchise channel member at home that wants to win this. Speaking of Knicks and Nets, we talked about Mikal Bridges, who extended his Iron Man streak. Well, Mikal Bridges, Al, from the Nets to the Knicks was just the fifth trade between the two franchises. Among the other trades, the Knicks traded two future NBA coaches, meaning at the time they were players, but they became NBA coaches. Name the two. Name the two men that the Knicks traded to the Nets. Different years. Who would become future coaches of the NBA. Yeah, who else? I think Bargnani and them might be on the next one. We'll do an all rejects poster after this. Forgot to mention Tyson Chandler.
That's gonna be a big mural. Holy cow!
Forgot to mention Action Jackson. No, we could do like a past stars. You know, like Jason Kidd, McGrady. We could do a Penny. like I can't believe these guys were Knicks edition. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
Yeah, we could do that.
Frank Ntilikina, Kevin Knox.
Oh yeah. Shout out to them.
Oh brother.
Okay. Let's see who we got here. Traded from the Knicks to the Nets. Two future coaches. Who we got? TM, do we have any winners yet? Surprise Eric L. Beats in here. Okay, let's see, man. They're still going at it in the chat here. Still going at it. No answers yet, Al. From the Knicks to the Nets, two future coaches. This is a doozy for the 90,000. P. McGee says this is difficult. Okay. I see an answer. All right, Al. As you know, before we get to the real answer, we need your answer. We didn't really track your record on these this year.
I know TM could go figure that out, man.
TM will probably calculate that.
Figure that out.
TM probably knows it off the top. A Nightbot chat is coming in right now with your record.
Good Lord. So they got traded from the Knicks and became a head. So they were a player on the Knicks and then became a head coach. Was it like the following sequential years? Is that it?
I don't know.
At some point.
That's just the question, man.
Oh,
I'm just a conductor here. The question is,
I'm just asking.
The question is, they were once Knicks. They got traded to the Nets, separate years, and became head coaches down the road.
Okay. We did this. We did one before. I know one is Mike Woodson.
That is correct. Friend of the program.
One is Mike Woodson.
Friend of the
program. I do know
program.
that. Shout out to Mike Woodson.
Yes, the trade, to be exact, was 1981, June 10th. The Knicks traded Mike Woodson for Mike Newlin. Mike for Mike. Yes. Next one.
Is the other one Jason Kidd?
No, they were never they never traded Jason Kidd to the Nets. No, sir. I'm actually ashamed that you would even throw that name out there.
Damn. Well, he did become the head coach after. I didn't know.
He did.
Damn. Who's the other?
All right.
Sheesh.
In the interest,
that's tough.
Yeah, I know it. In the interest of rapid fire, Phil Jackson, sir.
Phil Jackson.
June 8th, 1978, the New York Knicks traded Phil Jackson and a number 13 pick to the New Jersey Nets for the number 4 pick in 1979 and the Nets first. There you go. It's a little history there.
79. When did who was traded to the ABA?
Yeah, that's him. That's action. Yeah, that's Phil. Right there. Yep, that's him. Congratulations to Raman. R-A-Man. Ramen. Salute. Send us an email, sir. KFTVmedia@gmail.com to get your print. And if you guys missed out, hey, you can go to KnicksFanTV.com and get your prints. Congratulations to all who played. And I'm just glad Eric L. Beats didn't win again. Shout out to Eric. Okay. All right, so great show. Like I said, man, tomorrow, hey, we getting into playoff mode. Jerry Ferrara is coming through tomorrow, 5 o'clock. We are back NBA playoff mode. The NBA report is striking back up 3 o'clock tomorrow. Me and Dexter Henry, 3 o'clock on the NBA report. TM, if you could drop the link to the NBA report in the chat, make sure you guys are going over there and subscribing, because we back up 3 o'clock. Jerry Ferrara at 5 o'clock on the Bleacher Report show. Some of you guys are asking me when the game is against Detroit. I haven't heard yet, but make sure you guys are following me on Twitter at CP the Fanchise. Then once I know, I'll throw it out there. Couple times have been bandied about in a couple days in terms of options. So once I get the official, I'll throw that out there. What else? Watch party announcements, merch announcements will be coming up hopefully Monday, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys are on the newsletter for that. And that's it, man. Al, any last words on the season?
Up and down regular season, but it's always fun, man. It's always fun, especially since we're back in the playoffs, back to respectability. All right, back to being a respectable team, man. What's not to enjoy about that? Let's go, man. I'm looking forward to this matchup. Has it been confirmed yet while we've been on air if it's going to be Saturday or Sunday that the Knicks play? Look at that, against all odds. I like that one.
All odds.
I like
just
that.
A little preview. Just a little preview of the playoff merch. Against all odds. We ready, man.
That's a good one for this team. Against all odds.
Against all odds, man. Hey, congratulations again to 90K. Salute to Knicks Nation. We appreciate you guys. Hey, keep it locked, man. Let's get to 100,000 before the season's over. Like, share, subscribe. Throw this in your group chat. Leave a comment after the show. All those things tap into the algorithm and bring more people here. Bring more people to the Discord as well, man. So thanks again, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Big show, big week. Thanks again for your support.